Welcome to another episode of Subtle Asian Voices. Today we're doing long distance dating featuring Sam and Patrick, my two really good friends. Thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Just to reiterate, we're just going to have an interview, kind of chat and see where this goes and learn about Sam and Patrick's long distance relationship. So thank you guys for sharing. And then let's do another episode. Let's do intros with that. Welcome to another episode of California. I work as a school therapist, and let's do a fun fact. Fun fact about me is that I only drink one cup of coffee a day, but I make it last throughout the entire day because I drink drinks really slowly. And now I'm going to bump into my co-host Norman to introduce himself and our guests.
Hey everyone. I'm Norman, and I'm from Miami, Florida, and I enjoy my nice fine wines, and basically just trying to be a nice little advisor to all these people here that are going to be thinking about their getting started in a long distance relationship. And here we have our wonderful guests here, Patrick and Sam.
Well, I'm Sam. I'm 25. I'm currently in the Bay Area, Northern California. Quarantined my family, but I actually live and work in LA.
And I'm Pat. I grew up in LA, but now I work in the Bay, so we kind of swapped. It's kind of a little funny and ironic in that sense. But so yeah, also in quarantine, I'm in LA instead of the Bay, so we still swapped, even though we had a chance.
Yeah.
And that is why we're interviewing you guys. This is such an interesting situation. So before we start the interview, guys, again, if y'all just subscribe, hit that button for us. That way you can follow us as we post new stuff each week. And that way we also get more views on YouTube. So that'll be great. Thanks, guys.
Definitely.
Yeah. So shall we start? You ready?
Yes.
Let's start.
Yes. Okay. So Patrick and Sam, why don't you tell us a bit about each of your dating backgrounds, like relationships in the past, things like that?
I'm gonna go first. Okay.
Go ahead.
I've been in 4 relationships. Most of them are like long-term, like at least 2 years for each one. So I'm kind of like a relationship person. And Patrick is not my first long distance relationship. So my previous one, I also had another long distance relationship that didn't work out too well, but this one is. So that's my relationship history.
Oh, damn, girl. Long distance dating.
Mm-hmm.
Well, unlike Sam, I do not have 4 previous relationships. I only have one, and it was a high school that transitioned into one of those college long distance relationships. And obviously, that was a much different long distance than working long distance as like more post-college type of life. So no relationships in college though. So that's my only previous relationship. And also, I guess, somewhat long distance, but somewhat not.
So you guys have had like a pretty extensive experience of long distance relationships, huh? Was that planned at all? Or was it kind of just like, it just happened?
I think, well, for college, it just happened, but I'm not a long distance person. I would never choose to be in a long distance relationship, but I think this one just kind of worked out like that, especially because we met in college.
Yeah, I think my past long distance relationship, it was like one of those where I was in college and he was in high school. So that was a whole mess in itself because like when you're going to college, you're doing all these new things and just like you're growing up into an adult. But for someone who's still in college, he doesn't understand that at all. It's not like I went to college next to home either. So that was not great, but it didn't deter me from starting another long distance relationship. So I'm gonna be on devil's advocate here and say it can work.
I mean, clearly you guys are working out, so we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. And I would also like to point out that I'm also in a long distance relationship. So I have some kind of, also experience as well too, But anyways,
nice.
So
3-way.
I know it's definitely tough, but it works. Definitely works. But anyways, how did you guys meet? Anyways, besides like wearing like how in college? Like, did you like meet in class, or like you guys meet at a bubble tea shop, or like tell us the story of how you guys met?
All right, I'm gonna say my side of the story. Basically, we went to the same college, but we're not the same age. He's older, and there was this concert, like in the city in San Francisco, and then we both went separately, like from our same university though. But when we went to the concert, like we both ditched our college friends to go hang out with our UC Davis friends, so another school's friends. But the people we actually like went to happened to be the same group. Like my friend from UC Davis were actually friends with his friend from UC Davis. So we met in that group at the concert, and they were like, "Oh, you guys are the ones that go to Berkeley, so you guys should meet." And then that's how we met. But there was no spark whatsoever
Ooh.
during that. That was like not anything like ooh. It was just like literally like hi, my name is cool.
Okay. Okay. So how did you guys like get drawn to each other? Like how did it happen? Like what made it, start? Like how did it happen?
I'm so curious. Let us know.
Yeah.
It started with just Facebook friends, and then at the time when I first met her, I was like, oh, she's cute. I was like, I should just probably keep in touch with her, especially because she also goes to Cal. I mean, I didn't think anything was gonna happen. I just said, oh, we'll try to keep in touch. And it was also right before winter break, so we had a few weeks off where we were just, I think, both at home, just kind of messaging each other. And then when school came back, we were like, oh, let's hang out. And even then, it wasn't like an immediate like let's like get this rolling. It took a while. It was just a lot of back and forth, just hanging out, studying, that kind of.
Wait, it took actually like a long ass time. Like seriously, like we talked and went on dates ish for like 7 to 8 months before he was finally like, okay, maybe let's be in a relationship. So I was patient as hell, waiting for this dude to ask me out.
Wow.
Question for Sam though. So if you had felt no spark, then what made you decide to go on dates with him? I'm so curious.
I feel like we were super chill as friends. And then as I got to know him and like a lot of drinking occasions, that really helped. Like it just kind of naturally like fell into place. We're very like slow getting to know each other. I think actually one of like the first things that I liked about him was that he wasn't what I thought. Like I definitely had my wall up when I first met him, and I had like hella stereotypes about him. Like this is the typical frat dude, like whatever. He's probably a player. I don't know. I was asking everyone like, if this guy a douchebag, tell me straight up. But everyone had good things to say about him. And then like my initial thought about him was like, oh, he's this like fourth generation Japanese American, probably not in touch with his culture, and he's just like frat star kind of guy. But one of our first dates that we went on, he actually like talked to me a lot about his upbringing and about his cultural upbringing and how he was really involved with the Japanese American community. And I was really surprised by that for someone who's like third or fourth generation. And I really like that because culture is super important to me to like get to know. So I think that's why I opened up a little bit more to him, but still it took us forever.
Very nice. Very nice. So Patrick,
I also had a car. I think she used me to grocery shop. I'm like almost convinced still to this day that's what happened.
So the car works. The car is what made it happen.
The car works in college. The car is a plus.
College.
Okay.
When grocery stores are so damn far and there's hella hills, like you need a car. So I'm not gonna lie, yeah, it was a plus.
Okay.
So in that, like, how long of a ride was that from like grocery store, like from like your dorms to UC Berkeley? Like, did you guys have like the 20-minute conversation? I'm just curious.
Yeah, it was pretty much like 15-minute drives, depending.
15-minute, yeah.
Yeah.
So on those long drives to the market, like, what did you guys talk about? Like, did you use that time to like get to know each other a little bit, or just complete silence all the time?
He talks so much. Okay, you guys might not be able to tell right now. This dude talks literally like 95% of the conversation when we were first getting to know each other. And I originally was pissed because I was like, this bitch did not ask me any questions back. Like, I told all my friends that like, dude, should I even give this guy a chance if he's not even like asking me anything back? He's just talking his ass off. But I don't know. I was just patient and just waited for a question.
So
And now
what
she
made
does all
you
the talking.
Yeah, that's true.
right, so what made you be so patient with him? Like what attracted to you so to give him all these chances and like just be patient? Like what made you wait so long for him to actually act out upon all the the wants and stuff like that?
I think I don't know, something like he was just super calm and like I could tell he was very honest in everything he was saying to me. So I knew he wasn't like a shady dude or trying to play or anything. And he
Okay.
studied really hard in college. So I think that was a big plus that I knew he was just literally studying all the time, either that or like partying,
Mm,
but that's not a big deal. But I don't know. I think just you can just tell by someone's tone that they're a truthful person. And everyone I asked about him like said only good things about him. So I think I really trusted that.
So
I see.
Patrick, then question for you: did you realize that you were just talking all the time? Like, was that just out of nervousness, or was that just like you just wanted to talk?
I don't think I realized that until way down the line when she was like, you talk so much. Like, are you going to ask me anything? And I was just like, oh, like, let me try to be more self-conscious about this.
I see that. And then, so was there anything about Sam that kind of like had your spark? Like, oh my God, I want to date this girl. Because what made that switch? Because you guys waited for a long time, right? So for you, Patrick, what was that spark and switch like?
She was just very kind. There was this one night where I think everything could have ended. We had gone out drinking and I fell asleep in her bathtub and I was like, all right, this is it. I'm leaving. Like, I'm never gonna see this girl again. And then she caught me on my way out and she was like, hey, let's just go get some pho. And then she was like super chill about it. And I was just like, oh, this girl's so nice. Like, I can't just never see her again. I have to like keep this going.
Aww.
Yeah, legit in my bathtub. Like it's not like I lived alone either. I had 3 other roommates. So imagine these 3 other girls waking up to brush their teeth in the bathroom. They see this dude passed out, blacked out in our bathtub. Like that was just weird, right? But I was like, whatever, let's just go get pho. Because he had a car.
Dang.
He had a car.
Car, Patrick, that's it.
Yeah, I thought it was it. I thought that was it.
Man, y'all had some spicy nights in college, huh?
And now we just chill. Those are in the past.
There you go. But also,
That's
if you have
good.
to look back on this video and talk about all the good times you guys had, like, this is for you as well.
Yes.
So then let's talk about your transition to long distance dating. When did you guys start to have this discussion about being long distance?
So this was definitely me. So it's more of like my own personal choice. Basically, my thinking was I grew up in the Bay Area. I went to school in the Bay, and then I started working in the city, like everything in the Bay. And then I was like, I'm kind of bored of this. I need a change. So I was like, I'm gonna just move to LA. And I didn't really like take anyone's consideration into it. I was just like recruiting, found a new job, found roommates, new apartment, and then I was kind of like, bye. So I mean, I talked to Patrick about it, but like, I don't think anything he, to be honest, would have said that would have maybe stopped me from moving to LA because I knew I wanted to do it for myself. And I think I was okay with it because for me, it wasn't like, if our relationship ends, it's going to be the end of the world. We definitely aren't like that. We're more just like, I'm going to move, we'll try it out. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. So that was my process about the whole thing.
Okay. Hey, so Patrick, so what was in your mind when she first told you about this plan of hers to just, do her, So what was your thought process in that?
It's weird. I had like 2 sides of me. I had like the supportive side where I think it's very good to like see someplace other than where you grew up, like move to a different city, whether that's college for work, or just get a change of pace. I think it's a very good learning experience and changes the way you think about certain things. So there was that side of me that I was like, yeah, you should do this. Like, that would be awesome for you. Like, you'll get to see something new. You get to live on your own. And then there was the like relationship side of me that was like, no, it's like long distance. Like, I hate long distance. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. So that was like a weird balance for me to kind of like be that supportive side, but also think like for myself, like, would I be able to be good enough in a long distance relationship? Because I'm a type of out of sight, out of mind type of person. If I'm not with someone constantly every day, then I can get lost in my own day-to-day things, and sometimes things will slip my mind. But LA was also where I grew up. So I think that also played a part where I was like, oh, I can go have like a reasons to go to LA more. I can see my family. I can see my friends. So that kind of worked out in that sense.
Cool.
So then I guess like to fall off of that, then how did you know that the other person was worth the effort of long distance? Because like you were saying, it is a lot of work out of sight, out of mind. Sometimes you don't recognize that there's a lot of like communication stuff to go over and things like that. So what are your thoughts on that? How did you know it was worth the effort?
I think for me, I found it was more fun because I guess you can never predict how you're going to feel when you start working full time. And for me, it was almost like a little vacation every time I got to go to LA, and we had scheduled like some of these LA times. I was like, oh, it was a nice break for me. I got to see family, got to see friends, I got to see Sam. And I always took it like every time I looked forward to it, just kind of like, oh yeah, I can hop on a plane and be there in like 2 hours. It's not like going across the country or even international. And we're in the same time zone, so it's nice. I can get off work at like 6 o'clock, get on a plane by 7, and we can hang out for a Friday night. So at that point I was like, it's not too much effort for me to just hop on a plane, especially now that I'm not in college where I have to just drive everywhere. I don't have to make a 5.5-hour drive just to go see Sam.
Right.
Yeah, I was doing the driving around now because every time you come to LA, like I had to pick them up. And let me tell you, going to LAX is like a whole other deal. It's so different than me flying to SJ, like San Jose airport. That's nothing compared to me driving LAX and picking him up.
Wow.
How much you like someone, how much you love someone is like an indicator whether or not you'll drive to LAX for them. It's like, LAX, are you in LAX traffic? That means I really care about you.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sure.
Oh, sorry.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Like it helps that she's cute, right? And you can just like, oh, you know what? When you're like thinking about the other options, like, oh, I don't know, this is a lot of work too. I might as well just stick with this one and not have to deal with all the messy stuff that's outside now. Dating world now is crazy too,
Exactly. And then
yeah.
Let's
exactly.
What about Sam? Sam, how did you know that Patrick was worth the effort of a long distance relationship?
Okay, there was a little part of me, I don't know if Patrick knows this, but like imagine like you're a new person moving to a new city, new job, new friend, whatever, right? You kind of want to see what the dating life is out there. Like probably like LA boys are probably way different from the Bay Area boys. So I mean, there was that little bit of thought like, would I be missing out on that? But nah, not really, I think, because I don't know, I didn't really think too much about it. And I think what really helped us with becoming long distance is because he graduated college earlier than I did. And when he started working full time, he already moved an hour south of where I went to school. So we already practiced that like hour of distance. And I moved to San Francisco and he was still an hour away. So we still only saw each other like on weekends or once a week or every so often. So I think practicing that in the Northern California helped us a lot for LA. I feel like some months we even saw each other more doing LA in the Bay Area long distance than when we were both in the Bay.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm. And then, so I guess my follow-up question is like, when you guys were having this discussion about going a long distance, were there any challenges that you guys had to overcome before that initial like separation?
Like talking about challenges?
I think you get scared about committing to a long distance relationship. I think that would scare a lot of people off. How much effort is it going to take? How much stress is it going to be? And it's also hard because sometimes you're both up in your own lives and, you don't want to think about, do I have to book flights? What if my flight gets canceled? And it's just like, sometimes it's unneeded. Some people don't want to deal with it, but I think once you start getting into a routine of doing it more frequently, you kind of get it down. It just becomes more of a rhythm type thing to get there. And then at that point, you just forget about it. At least for me.
I don't know. I think I was kind of like, I'm ready to go, man. Because I was just so done with the Bay at that point. It was just for me, honestly.
Gotcha. And then I guess our last question to follow up. First of all, audience question. How long is too long for a long distance relationship to work? Is there a number that you guys can think of? in
Are
terms
we
of like,
talking distance, but maybe, or are we talking hours, years apart?
let's
But
talk how long of a long distance is too long?
yeah, I think anywhere in the United States is fine. I think you could make it work. Um, so one person's gonna have to align their schedule, but I mean, my roommate's in a long distance relationship with a girl in DC, and we live in California. But it's pretty funny because our apartment's always empty. So we pay barrier prices, but we were just really never there. But I mean, they make it work fine. I mean, they kind of extend their trips. So me and Sam would do more of a twice a month type of thing before COVID-19. It was I'll fly down, then she'll fly up next time. But for like a longer distance, they were doing more like my roommate was doing more once a month, once every 6 weeks. But for a little longer extended time, maybe 3 or 4 days instead of just a weekend, like how me and Sam do it.
Sam, how about you? Any distance that's too long for long distance?
Nah, I think it'll be fine. I don't know. I have a lot of faith. People can make it work. And like, honestly, I'm all for it because I see a lot of positives in long distance in terms of finding your own independence and doing your own thing. So, you know, even time zone would really suck if it was like America and like Asia or something. But I don't know. North America is fine. I think it's fine.
That's cool. That's cool. So like, since you guys are now, like separate places now, like when you guys hang out with each other, like with your own friends, right? Like, is there any kind of like jealousy that happens between you guys, or like maybe like if you guys are going, some kind of like to a bar, like before COVID happened, right? Like to a bar or like a club, whatever. Like, was there any kind of those situations where like jealousy happened because you're not together? So tell me something about that, if anything happened.
So I think something really interesting is that we're a bit different, where I think one of the biggest challenges we have is like going together to places. So I'll give an example. Like basically I'm the one that moved to LA and moved to a new city, right? So I really wanted to just make new friends and like just get acquainted with my coworkers and things like that. And I was saying yes to everything. I would say yes to every weekend plan, every bar plan, every club, everything, regardless if or not Patrick was coming down to LA or not. And initially, when I was making these new friends, I wanted to kind of like get to know me for me, not like me plus my boyfriend, because like I'm already new as it is. So I would be like, oh, you're coming down. Can you just like hang out with your friend or your family for a bit while I go hang out with my friend? Because that's something I definitely need to work on. But I was definitely like, I just moved here. Like, I don't think people know me yet for me, instead of like as a unit. So we have like kind of the opposite problem where we tend to go out separately way more than going somewhere together.
Mm-hmm.
So that, I mean, the jealousy doesn't really happen because it's like almost like we're encouraging each other, like, okay, I'll meet up with you later, like after the bar. So it's a bit different, definitely a bit different.
Okay. So what are your thoughts, Patrick, on that?
I think we're just a bit lucky in the sense that our families are in the opposite areas. So even if one person is busy, we can always just go spend some time with some family or some hometown friends. And we're lucky in that sense that we have that fallback plan that one of us, if the other is busy, we can go do something and we're not going to feel like the other person just leaving us out in the cold, But right. I could definitely see how if we were both in different cities and the only person we knew in that city was each other, then definitely we'd have to do more incorporating into the plans. And that's a bit more tough. And yeah, I could definitely see some jealousy occurring. But I think it's just something as a couple you have to work through. Like, what do we want to do together and what are we willing to do individually?
Right. Yeah, I definitely think like these days, the way like long distance relationships are is that people are dating, through online and then meeting people from all over the place. And usually they probably don't have, that, other friends or family that are in that city. So yeah, I can definitely see how being, knowing the city already, helps you guys, do the long distance a lot better. So yeah, that's definitely lucky.
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, so like while you're, doing the long distance stuff, like how do you guys communicate with each other? Like what's the formats that you guys use so far?
I think we have like 3 platforms going at once. We're like talking on Facebook, messages, Instagram, sending each other TikToks. I don't know. It's like we got like 4 different messages going at like one time. And sometimes she gets mad. She's like, "You're responding to me on Instagram, but you didn't respond to my text." And
no, let me tell you, like he's not responding to like our normal conversation on Facebook, but then like boom, on TikTok, I get this meme of a dog. Okay. And it's like, okay, I know you're like not busy. So you could just respond to my conversation, sending me random memes. So, but our conversations, our communication isn't really planned when we're long distance. We're more like, we can call each other randomly, like, "Oh, hey, you busy? What's up?" Or like, but we didn't, sometimes we'll plan like, "Oh, you want a video chat like once a week, like on this Saturday night if you're not free," but we're really accommodating with each other. And sometimes I think it works better even to just call each other randomly, like, "Yo, what's up?" And then,
So basically just like, keeping it like normal as if you guys weren't even, long distance at all, right? Basically, because I feel like most people who are in long distance, like they try to like video chat every day or try to, like do some kind of connection like physically, even when you're not together. So but it seems like you guys, you just seem like it's, chill and like, like as if you guys weren't even, however long distance you guys are. So that's really cool.
Yeah. I feel like you could get burnout maybe a bit if you were trying to like definitely video chat every day, because we are on our different schedules. But I think as Sam had mentioned earlier, because I started working a bit earlier, I didn't have that luxury to just video chat anytime I wanted. And it kind of got worked into our schedules that if we were going to video chat, it had to be later at night. And then actually when I started working, I was working a night shift. So that made it even harder because we were just awake at different times of the day. So that was actually worse than I think the LA part. I was working at night. She would obviously be awake in the day, and we would only find times to talk either in the early mornings or like late at night. So
I'm curious, so in terms of like personality, do you think is there like a certain personality type that would be really successful in a long distance relationship?
I don't know if personality type per se, because I will say that like in my past relationships, like back when I was in high school, I didn't know much and I was a clingy little shit and I was bad. So like, yeah, I would want to like video chat every day and just be damn annoying to the guy. But I think it's a maybe as you grow up kind of thing and get busier and start working, I definitely let go of that a lot because kind of what's the point of doing long distance, or like I guess what was the point for me moving to a new city if I was going to spend every night video chatting or talking to this guy? Then I wouldn't have time to make work friends, make normal friends, or just explore LA for myself. So I think that mindset really helps for long distance. Like just kind of think about like what are some self growth improvements you can do for yourself. And then I think it's cool if like maybe we don't talk for a week and then we talk at the weekend and then we have so much to catch up on. Like there's just so much more to talk about instead of us talking every single day, knowing what's going on every second of every day of our lives.
I definitely feel how it gets like a little mundane and it gets a little tiring. We do that kind of stuff. So like in terms of like your family, right? Like have you guys met each other's family? Like how do they feel about this kind of like long distance relationships?
Our families are hella chill.
I think my family sees me more now that Sam has moved to LA than before she did. So I think they're actually a little happy. They're saying, "Oh, at least you're coming to LA more." And whenever I do go to LA, I do try to fit in at least like one meal with my parents. So I think in that sense, they're kind of happy that I'm back more often.
I think my parents are the same too. Lucky. They're like, "Oh my God, you're back again," like every time. So they're kind of like sick of me at that point, but they like how we are seeing them more because I think we always do like boyfriend girlfriend with family every single time we go up or down. Yeah,
that's cool. So I'm guessing like they enjoyed you two as a couple, I guess. So like we were like pretty cool about it then, right? So that's really cool. So like.
Yeah, I have a quick question about that. So are you guys seeing family with each other or is it like separately? Just out of curiosity.
I think both. Definitely both. Like if the other person, if we're both available and free at the time, then we'll definitely go together. Because I think for us, we're both very family valued people, family oriented people, and that's like our number one value. And integrating each other with our families is a huge thing. So we always try to bring the other person to the parents as much as we can.
Perfect. That's very good. So like, what are your friends then? Like, do they think, like, let's say your new friends in LA, right? Like, do you think your boyfriend's some kind of like, like ghost or some kind of person who doesn't even exist? Like.
I don't know, Daphne, do you think Patrick doesn't exist?
I had this, like, I knew you were dating someone. So Sam and I met in LA and actually over Bumble. We were like online. We met online. But then we used to hang out, and then Sam would talk about Patrick. And I'm like, who's this Patrick guy? Because Patrick, I didn't see you for a long time. I didn't meet you until Sam's birthday after like almost half a year.
Yeah, something,
Yeah.
So that was my thought initially. I was like, who is this Patrick guy? When am I going to meet him? And then I knew he existed, but I just never met him. So I'm glad you finally got, like, I put a face to a name. It makes my life a lot easier. Patrick, do your friends know that Sam exists though, right?
Yeah. I mean, now that she's in LA, they hang out with both of us a lot more. But my Bay Area friends, they're just always like, oh, Sam's in the Bay? Because sometimes we try to keep it low key especially because we went to college in the Bay. There's just too many people up there.
Yeah, I think like when you visit each other for a weekend, you only have like pretty much like 36 to 48 hours to make use of that time. And you have to fit in time with family, but also time for us alone. Like that is such a hard balance, and still pretty hard for us to kind of, get through the balance part of like, okay, maybe we should just spend this weekend alone together instead of always surrounding ourselves with people. Cause then it's like, how are we going to work on our relationship if our relationship is always just at like gatherings and stuff like that? So that is a huge challenge. Yeah.
Okay. So what do you guys do like when you're together? Like do you guys like, just stay in the apartment and cook, watch some TV? Like what do you guys do to like, develop that relationship?
Tell us about your date life.
Well, Sam's an adventurer. She'll plan out like 12 hours worth of activities, and I'll look at the list like, oh my goodness, like this looks like I'm gonna be asleep by the end of the day. And I normally wake up pretty late, but Sam will like wake me up early, and she'll be like, we're gonna work out, we're gonna go to the farmer's market, and she'll just take me around like every different small neighborhood. And she always tries to change it up, but I think in that way it's good that she's able to help plan so many activities that keeps us really busy. And like she said, we're trying to fit in a lot in one day, but it is tiring. And sometimes we do like to just, stay at home, watch a movie. And we had I think Sam actually has an AMC movie pass, and we ended up going to the movies a lot more right before quarantine.
I feel like he hates me because he's like always hella tired after all of our days together. But I will say, don't you feel like LA a little bit more than when you grew up there? Because I make you go out with me all the time. Yes.
It's true. I didn't really know LA like I thought I did.
You know what's crazy about living in a city that you grew up in is that you don't do all this like touristy stuff. You don't go out of your way to go explore areas until like someone new comes in, and then you do all the touristy things, and you're like, oh, I didn't know this existed.
Yeah, very true. So we have a.
So what are your favorite ways?
From the audience.
Sorry about that, Norman.
No, don't worry.
Okay. Do you want to ask or do you want me to ask? It doesn't really.
You can go ahead.
So guys, again, what are your favorite ways to make your partner feel loved and keep the relationship fun or interesting when you don't get to see each other in person?
I think for Sam, she likes it when like surprise ice cream shows up at her door. So like a lot of Postmates, a lot of door dashing at different ice cream place.
Yeah, that's all I need. Just like, like sometimes when like there's this one time I was drinking with some like coworkers and stuff, and then like I hadn't eaten dinner yet, so it was hitting me hard. And then I was like messaging him like, oh, okay, I'm on the way home, like I'm Ubering home, blah blah. But damn, I haven't eaten yet. And then he'll Postmate sugar fish to my door, and I'm like,
Aw.
oh my god. And then, but then I just devour that like ASAP and pass out. And then
Bougie. That is bougie shiz, man.
Wow.
that's just
But
like that's just
I
like
think with long distance, sending each other food is definitely a nice gesture. That
Definitely.
is a fun
definitely.
way to keep something going, or something
Yeah,
to talk
yeah.
about too.
like remind
Yeah, I
them
agree.
like, oh, someone's there. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I sent like microphone a box of mangoes from Florida to her.
Oh.
Yeah, so she really enjoyed that. So
Ooh.
that's another little way of doing things too. Hmm.
I'm getting
Yeah,
Wow.
I think sending some gifts when you're not physically there helps a lot more
Yeah.
than maybe when you are closer in the same city.
Yeah,
So.
especially food, because that
Yeah,
one
food.
hits the spot. Hits the spot.
Definitely food.
Yeah.
Me and Sam also like to play like a lot of random games. Like I think there was Monopoly Deal. We were playing online for like the longest time against each other. And then Sam likes doing random like TikTok dances, and she'll like try to make me learn them and see
Okay.
like. But I mean, it's stuff like that you can't do in person, but it's also fun to do remotely. And then I think back when Snapchat was a thing, we were on this like goal to hit a 1,000-day streak or something.
Yes.
Wow.
But we broke
Yeah.
it because like even when we were fighting, like 1,000 days, like that's like 2-3 years, right, of Snapchat streak, and you have to send at least one snap a day. And even when we're fighting, we're like, we're not gonna lose the streak, so we just send a picture of like the floor, like a really random picture of the floor, the wall, whatever, just like just not show our face because we're still mad at each other, but just get that streak going. So little things
Okay.
like that. There's so much stuff online nowadays, so yeah.
You're right. So yeah. Hey, so since you guys are not physically together, like when you have fights, like how do you solve it? Like how do you talk it out?
I think one thing I've learned with fights is that like it's really important to just kind of take some space, like take a breather from each other. Like don't always have to figure it out right then and there at the moment, because it could heighten and get really like angry and just not
Mhm.
like emotional talking. So I think just kind of taking some space away from each other, like maybe a couple hours, or even maybe it could be overnight, like the next morning when you wake up and you're refreshed, and then you can really talk about it a lot more calmly. I think that's
Okay.
really helped with us, just taking a step back, to take time to ourselves, breathe, shake it off, and then come back.
And I think in
Okay.
terms of conflict, do you guys find that you're managing conflict differently over long distance than you would have done in person? Or like how has that changed?
Yeah, I mean, I think especially if it happens in person, you're trying to like resolve it then and there. You can't just get out and walk out and just be like, yeah, see you later. Like, or you could, I don't know. Maybe some people are like that, but with long distance, I think it's easier to clear your head and just maybe do something by yourself, or maybe do something with some friends and just kind of say, yeah, I have a relationship, but we'll have to work it out maybe tomorrow, or maybe when after I've given myself some time to think about it. But maybe when you're not long distance, or at least from in college and when she was still in the Bay, that type of experience, the fight seemed to last longer almost. It was more just, it was harder. We were trying to solve it then and there, and it just seemed like it would just drag on rather than just giving ourselves kind of the time we needed to really think about both sides.
Mm.
Awesome.
Definitely seems like
Do you guys, if you had to go ahead, Norman.
It definitely seems like the maturity. Definitely seems like there's like a maturity factor in terms of being in a relationship with like long distance, and it seems like if you have the right mindset, then it can work. But it seems like it definitely takes a lot of maturity for it to work, and it seems like you guys have that kind of maturity. And I feel like back in the day, without all this technology, there was no way this could have happened properly. Like
yeah,
you're in a good time. You're in a good time.
We're fortunate. We're very fortunate with like even FaceTiming, video calls.
Yeah.
Even if just we're able to call and text, I don't think it might be enough. and the ease of flying these days. I mean, not right now, but before. But yeah, like you said, I think technology is like a huge role. And I think a lot of people we know, probably you've seen it yourself too, right? Just
Yep.
being able to keep in touch just online. It almost seems like you can bridge the gap a bit with that.
Yeah. So I guess question for you guys, what have you learned about each other during this long distance experience? I'm really curious about that.
A lot, a ton. And it might not be good. It might not be good or bad. I think like in conjunction with learning about a lot about each other and our communication styles, because to be honest, Patrick, you don't tell me things right then and there, you know, like if there's an issue, he might take like a month to tell me. And I'm like, damn, why didn't you tell me this when it happened? But I think learning the communication styles, but then like learning how can we work on that? That's been really helpful. But I think if anything, we both kind of learn more about ourselves because we have so much time to ourselves in our own lives, in our separate cities, that I actually feel like I learn more about myself. Yeah. But in a relationship way too, like how I can make this relationship better, what I need to improve on to make this long distance relationship work.
And then Patrick,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
What was that, Daphne?
What are your thoughts on that? Like, what did you learn about each other, about yourself?
I think communication is probably one of the harder issues. Just because I think when you're with someone in person more, you're constantly reassessing what's bothering you or maybe what isn't. But when you are long distance, if something bothers you, you might not catch on to it. At least for me, I don't catch on to it until maybe like a few weeks down the line or a month, or when I'm sitting and I'm like thinking like, yeah, that really bothers me. And then I'll bring it up and then Sam would just like, dude, it's been like a month. And I'll be like, I didn't think about it.
Better late than never.
That's true.
Definitely.
You're right. Okay, I give him that.
And sometimes, the distance, makes the heart grow fonder a little bit, So kind of makes that kind of.
Yeah, I think so. We miss each other a lot more. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So now, just to go into something a little bit more spicier, right? Like, even though when you're you're doing all these, events with your friends or with together, and you're doing all your family stuff, and then when you wind down at the end of the night, like, how can you not be too tired to to initiate the physical part of the relationship? Like, how do you guys, make that part of the relationship, thrive?
I think there's a lot of different factors there. Maybe some caffeine, lots of coffee throughout the day. We've been getting into these midday naps though. I think that gives us that second round of energy.
You have. I have not.
I do. Well, for me. But yeah, sometimes we are too tired, especially traveling. Sometimes it's not like the first thing on the mind. It's just very hard to have that energy to travel to each other, do something, and then even have be able to stay awake at the end of the night.
Right.
So I think it's just finding some time. It's hard to schedule it, right? You just have to find some time and just maybe.
Well, but besides that, right? Do you think the physical part of the relationship is important, or do you think it's more of a secondary part versus the mental and the emotional part of the relationship?
He might think differently than me, but I don't think it's the most important part. We can take care of ourselves our own way on our own time. It's fine.
Right.
I'm definitely more of the mental, emotional person.
Okay.
I don't know what he can do whatever he wants,
You're an independent woman, Sam. You get it, girl.
Right. I know myself, so I'm fine.
That's good.
Love that.
So Patrick, what do you think?
I think she's more of the mental, emotional. Sometimes I think I need more intimate interaction, but I guess that could be another source of sometimes we fight. We're just like, dude, why are you so tired?
So
but
on that same note, right? Just because you guys are away, right? there's still ways to be, physical with each other. So like, have you guys thought about, like these, Wi-Fi enabled toys that you can use or not?
Okay, I honestly
Not
didn't
really,
know they
unfortunately.
existed. I didn't know
No?
they existed. Okay, when I think Wi-Fi enabled toys, I'm literally thinking like the most innocent thing. Because I have another friend who's in a long distance relationship, and they have a Wi-Fi toy, but it's a box that they both have at their work desk, and it's connected to an
wow.
app.
Okay.
It's connected to an app, but the app is just like you just click something, and when you want the other person to know that you miss them, and like an LED heart will pop up.
Oh,
So
Oh, that's cute.
that's what I was thinking.
No,
But
definitely not.
I mean, Norman, you might have a different experience. I don't know. There might be a whole other world that I have not been introduced to. I don't know.
Hey, I mean, when you're at nighttime and you guys are lonely together, sometimes a little interaction with the toy is it's pretty nice, because like you can like Patrick can just be at home, controlling your toy, and then somehow just make you a little more happier, So you should probably try it out. It's not that it's pretty good.
Now we know. I'm learning a lot from
I
this.
gotta write these tips down that Norm
We
giving
definitely
out.
do. That love sense. Love sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
So what are the most creative ways that you two have communicated with each other during this time? So you saw y'all some food. What else do you guys do? I'm so curious.
We're I don't know. We really gave into TikTok and memes. I don't know. We're very like I don't know. Patrick, can you think of anything creative?
That's pretty creative on its own, actually. I'm very impressed.
Yeah.
All right.
Mostly social media type of stuff.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you guys ever do
Yeah,
like
it's
some
hard.
kind of like spontaneous like visits or something, or like maybe like a teddygram or some kind of like like I don't know, some kind of like weird gift or something that maybe like or maybe like handmade gifts.
I will say one Valentine's Day when we weren't together Valentine's Day, I was great, okay? Because I talked to his roommate on the side and I was like, okay, can you help me do all this shit? And I hired TaskRabbit to go to like a bunch of like fast food places because he loves fast food. Get like chicken nuggets, McDonald's, Taco Bell, whatever. Go to Safeway, buy a rose and like chocolate and like soda, whatever. And I just had the TaskRabbit grab it from all these places. Oh, and Krispy Kreme Valentine's Day donuts, amazing.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
TaskRabbit meet up with his roommate. So the roommate grabbed all the stuff, set it up in his like downstairs living room area, and then I told him like I'm gonna video call you at this time, like open up the video call and like have it at the desk with all this stuff, and then so when he came home from work, I was all waiting for him there, and I was on the screen like Happy Valentine's Day,
Dang, girl.
That is cute.
That
That
is like
is cute.
goals. Woo. All right.
Yeah, Patrick.
It seems like he's a
Yeah, I
happy
did not
guy,
do
huh?
something like that. Yeah, I
Yeah, step it up. Yeah, step it up with those creative
definitely need
gifts.
to step it up.
I would say sugar fish,
Creativity is not my strong suit.
dude.
Sugar
Honestly,
Fish is pretty good.
this is pretty good. That's a very legit gift.
Yeah, that was really good.
Yeah,
I was
that's
impressed.
So you guys, in terms of like holidays, then how do you guys split holidays? Because I know you guys are in different areas of the Bay, so like Christmas and Thanksgiving, you guys are usually in opposite cities from what I remember. So tell us more about that.
We don't go together for them. We just spend it with our family. So we're still split up. And traditionally, most Christmas, New Year's breaks, I always go to Taiwan every year for my extended family. So there was one year when he did visit me in Taiwan for that Christmas break for a few days, and that was cool. But traditionally, we spend our holidays separate.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
And then I
Do you have
think
any favorite
last year
holidays?
we went to Japan
Yeah,
New Year's.
Oh, that's awesome.
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys take planned trips together pretty often, like outside of the cities, like SF and LA, or is that kind of just like each other's travel?
We try to.
We try, yeah. We did meet up in between LA and the Bay and San Luis Obispo? Slow?
Yeah, and slow.
Right.
For like a
That was a
one
nice,
day
like,
thing
couple-hour
too.
drive for both of us.
Yeah. So we just drove and met halfway in California and then drove back home after.
Wow. How long does that take?
That was a lot. It was 6 hours of driving for each of us within one day.
Wow,
Wait.
Because it's
that is love.
3 hours, then hang out for a day, and then 3 hours back home.
Oh,
You guys met in
Yeah.
the middle for just that one day. You guys didn't even stay over in Slow.
No.
you guys are hardcore. You guys are hardcore.
No,
That's what you gotta do. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. You gotta make it work. Otherwise, if you don't try, it's not gonna work.
Wait,
Very
I
true.
think I remember
Yeah,
that.
it's definitely mutual effort on both parts.
Yeah.
But we do try to like make at least one international trip or just outside, like a far 1 week long trip a year, at least. So, but even then, it's also very hard to find the time, which also works out because she's in Taiwan. That's why we chose Japan last year, because she didn't have to travel too far, and I like going to Japan. So.
So guys, when all this craziness is over, where is your next destination going to be?
We were trying to go to Hawaii, but that's not gonna happen.
Okay, I see you. And I guess like so we have about 10 more minutes left. So let's do some wrap up questions. So what are some advantages to your long distance relationship that you guys have seen over time?
I think there's a lot. You can really focus on your career. I think that's something that was really, really important for us and still is. We're both pretty work dedicated people. So we don't like just being able to focus on that in our own separate cities. And like, I think I have a lot more job opportunities in LA and he has a lot more in the Bay. That's been a big advantage to it. And just like the excitement that builds up before you see like the other person again on a weekend or whenever you're visiting is really great. So like you never really get sick of each other.
Very true. So like question, right? So like what are your goals of your careers? Like what's that? What do you guys do for your jobs?
Well, I think goal-wise, it's not really defined, but I'm an engineer, and it's more just kind of grinding, just kind of seeing what I want to do. And I studied chemical engineering in college, so I had actually worked a lot of places outside of California, and I just realized I like to be in California. So for me, it's just more just focusing on finding the right kind of role and job in California that's going to allow me to stay here. But I think we're both on this, at least for me, I'm on like more of a mindset that until like I'm at least 30, I want to just keep grinding career-wise, whether that involves changing jobs or changing roles. So Sam, maybe you have your own opinions.
I'm kind of very similar. I feel like I'm just going to keep grinding my whole life pretty much. That's kind of like how I was raised. But I do user acquisition, which is another word for saying growth marketing for a gaming company in LA. So just kind of following that progression and seeing where that takes me.
Right. So it seems like, being, separate gives you the kind of advantage of being able to grind. Because I feel like if you're together, then you wouldn't be able to grind as hard, because then you're always gonna want each other's company, and like, kind of like not focus on work as much. But because you are more away, you have that ability to just grind away and just focus on the career. And since you're kind of young, you have that time to just focus on yourself, and you don't have to worry about family and like creating family and all that sort of stuff that needs more time together to do. And so like going to on that note, like, do you have any plans to like be in the same city eventually? Like, is there a timeline on that, or is there an idea that eventually we're gonna pick a city that you're gonna be in, like all that kind of stuff?
Honestly, we get asked that a lot. Like, are we planning to move to the same city, or when are we going to move to the same city? But I think for both of us, especially because Sam has only been in LA for about 1.5 years now, or so. And I think we're both just saying, let's see where our careers take us. Who knows where we're going to be 2 years from now? Because already from 2 years ago, so much has changed. I think Sam's changed jobs a few times. I'm in a different role now that I do a lot more travel, and we're not really sure where we're going to be in another 2 or 3 years. So it's hard for us to plan maybe if we're ready to move to a different city with each other, or maybe even continue on another couple of years just doing long distance and just working on our personal growth first.
Yeah, no plans basically. we'll figure it out when we get there.
In short,
Okay.
no plans.
Yeah.
But I am curious though. I am a little curious though. Like, what are your favorite parts of the cities that you currently like, Sam? Like, what's your favorite part about LA?
Definitely how much more there is to do than what I was used to in the Bay Area. Because it's huge. There's so many different neighborhoods, and each neighborhood is so culturally different that I'm a really big food person. So I feel like I kind of moved to LA half reason for the food. But also there's just so many more different types of people to meet. Like not everybody working in the tech industry. So that's been really interesting. And I just love that aspect because I'm a really like busy bee kind of person. So I thrive in that type of environment.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then Patrick, what about you in the Bay Area?
I think it's more of when you grow up in a city, you get comfortable with that city, even though LA is huge and I didn't live in actual LA, but I think there's just a comfort of being in LA, and being in the Bay at least keeps me more on my toes, kind of just trying to keep learning new things, being more independent. And I like seeing that side of me grow rather than, I know if I was in LA, I might be more comfortable and just complacent with where I am. And I'm not sure I'm ready to kind of settle down on that in that type of sense yet. So I like the Bay because I just feel like everyone is coming in from a multitude of places. And yeah, like Sam said, most people are tech, but at the same time, everyone's pretty career driven and focused. And I like seeing that.
I mean, both cities are very different. You know, they're all on the same coast, which is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I feel you guys have advantages in both sides because you guys are both very driven people, very independent people, and I feel like you guys have made that work really well in this situation. So that's really cool to see.
Definitely.
Yeah. So closing thoughts, any last minute advice to people who are in long distance relationships or thinking about going into long distance relationships?
You can do it. Don't be scared. I would say just don't be scared. Just don't be scared to try it. Like I think a lot of couples out there that I know of that currently live in the same city, one person might want to move somewhere else and they kind of want to like decide right then and there, okay, like should we break up right now then? But like just give it a try. You never know. This could be good for both of you, even for the person that doesn't move. Like just don't knock things off without trying. I think that's the big advice. And it might work out better than you expected.
Yeah, you can learn a lot about yourself, especially doing a long distance relationship. And obviously, just don't forget to send food.
Yes.
Yes, definitely.
So important.
Yeah, and definitely, if the person's worth it, then you really gotta try. Because it's not all the time you find someone who is a good person, who is cute, who is energetic and driven. It's rare out there in the dating world to find someone who is compatible with your life. So and if you find someone who's like that, then you definitely have to try and keep that going on.
Yeah.
So I think it's very important.
Yeah, you guys are awesome.
Yeah, you definitely have to keep good effort. But I mean, maybe another positive is I think people are a lot more understanding when you say, "Oh, I'm gonna hang out with my girlfriend. She's in town for the weekend," and people are just like, "Oh yeah, like." Don't even like, or people at work too. They're just like, oh yeah, have a great weekend. Like, get out of here.
Oh yeah.
And I think people, friends, work. It's just they're a lot more understanding, and I like that rather than just if your girlfriend's in the same city, it's like nah, like she can wait. Like.
Oh my God! Like when I'm
That's true.
Friday afternoon, when I'm driving to LAX, and I'm like, my boyfriend's in town. I got to pick him up from LAX. They're like, oh, just leave at like 1 p.m. It's fine because the LAX traffic. I'm like, yes, I can leave work early and go tend to that. So that's a plus.
Now that is inside information. That's awesome. All right. Well, this is the end of the interview, but the time is up. Time flew by really quick, guys. Thanks so much for sharing. It's been great having you guys on here.
Thanks for hosting.
Any
that was
shout
great.
Thank you.
That was fun.
Awesome. Well, again, if you guys haven't already hit that like or subscribe button, please do so. And that way we can get more views and also you guys can get caught up with whatever's going to be coming up next. And again, thank you so much to Sam and Patrick for sharing with us today.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
And also, one last shout out to Brian.